Ruben, Ruben, you want to do intros?
Yes. So welcome everyone. My name is Ruben Rodriguez. I am the general manager for Blueway Group. Today we're going to have our State Fleet Technology Service Management webinar. This is basically an intro to the State Fleet Manager product in order to use data efficiency and manage your products. I'm going to go in Spanish to those who like to the, to also be here for Spanish. Buenas, mi nombre es Rubén Rodríguez. Yo soy el gerente general de Blueway Group SRL, radicado en la República Dominicana. El propósito del webinar de hoy es para enseñarle el producto que nosotros cargamos en nuestro portafolio, que se llama State Fleet Manager. State Fleet Manager es un producto que está en la plataforma de ServiceNow y que sirve para la administración de flotillas y utilizando la data para la administración más eficaz de sus flotillas. Con nosotros hoy se encuentra Dave Casio. Dave Casio es el vicepresidente de STAFE, que se encarga de todo lo que es en cuanto a soluciones. También se encuentra Mark Buscaglia, quien es el CTO de STAFE. Y estamos aquí a sus órdenes. Le voy a pasar a Dave ahora para que él haga la demostración del producto. Y después vuelvo y hablamos de próximos pasos y un evento en persona que tenemos planificado para la República Dominicana. Dave, go ahead.
Gracias, Ruben. My name is Dave Casio. I'm the Senior Vice President at Stave and the Solution Consulting. And today I want to present to you and thank you everybody for taking the time to join us for this webinar around fleet management and fleet technology service management. So I want to just get the agenda out of the way here. So we'll do the introductions. I'm going to do a quick Stave introduction. Then I'll dive into a demo and of the product on ServiceNow, and then we will do any questions and answers thereafter. So I'll walk through this, and then we can talk about what's next, and if you have any follow-ons, and we can set up a separate meeting with Ruben and his team, and have some further deeper discussions. So without further ado, let's roll into what is Stave? So Stave Apps was founded in 2014 with our headquarters in California. We are a ServiceNow ISV partner, independent software vendor partner. We have 11 applications that are fully certified on the ServiceNow platform. And what that means is we're effectively an extension of ServiceNow's engineering team. Within the ServiceNow portfolio, there are capabilities, and what Stave brings to the table is filling a gap in those capabilities around fleet management. So ServiceNow doesn't have a fleet management product, and that's where Stave comes in to fill that gap. We're also experienced in life cycle management of those fleet and other assets, as well as being a partner in the ServiceNow ecosystem. So why would somebody want to look at Stave? So fleet management and fleet technology is really kind of coming into the present times. There's a lot of antiquated fleet technology out there, or some folks are not using anything at all other than spreadsheets and notebooks. So what we'll be able to give you is a single pane of glass, which is built for this era, completely native on the ServiceNow platform. And what that means is the ServiceNow platform is a transactional platform. It's a workflow platform. Fleet management effectively is a workflow, and so we're built on that purpose-built platform for managing workflows and tasks and that sort of work. The operational depth we get you out of the box. We solve about 90 to 95% of most fleet challenges, and right then and there you can start seeing a value out of our fleet management tool exclusively right out of the box. With our go live, we have roughly a 30 to 60 day time frame, because we've built this fleet to be purpose built for the fleet management solution. Not 6 to 12 months, which happens with a lot of ServiceNow applications that get built. Where really you can see value and be in production within 60 days. Configurable, we can do phased rollouts, and we're trusted by most enterprise leaders in the logistics field. So who are some of our customers? Well, as you can see here, we are across 13 different countries from Asia, North America, Europe, and Africa. With folks like Cummins, we manage 800 vehicles for Cummins, that diesel engine manufacturer. We've got New York Life, anywhere from commercial to government, U.S. government, and state and local. We also do airports. We do financial with, as you can see, Royal Bank of Canada. And so as you can see, we have a pretty broad spectrum of customers in our portfolio at present. So what is Stave doing? We basically, at the top, first and foremost, we're a fleet management company. So we're coining the term Fleet Technology Service Management, FTSM, right? So that's where we're looking at really being the fleet technology management benchmark for your fleet management. And as you'll see, the really robust product that we've been able to make available to you. We also do enterprise asset management, so everything from all of your assets that are outside of IT, the complete life cycle of those managements, including source, procure, and then ultimately manage. So what is fleet management and some of the capabilities associated with fleet management? So effectively global, right? Wherever your fleet is, we can manage it on a single pane of glass, or we can help you manage it with a single pane of glass with dashboards, financials, vehicle maintenance. So that's preventative. If there's any service bulletins that are coming out from the manufacturer, you can put that into the system and then create workflows around making sure that those fleet vehicles are now up to the warranty based on those service bulletins. Fleet commissioning, any disposition. So that's it. If a vehicle gets to the end of life, or helping you put governance around what that fleet would look like as far as like when you want a vehicle to become end of life. Vehicle reservations, inventory scanning, warranty management, mapping, you get that as well. So where is the vehicle in the world? We can set that up for you as well. We have a map solution. We also have a vendor management. So if you're working with vendors, you don't necessarily have a set of mechanics that are on board, but you might be outsourcing the repair of the vehicles to somebody. Well, they're a vendor, right? So you want to bring them in. Your fleet manager, your fleet that you're purchasing them from, they're also a vendor. So you can do the vendor management with this as well. So it's a pretty broad spectrum of fleet management solutions, which basically get you from acquisition of the vehicle and all the governance around acquisition to disposition and ultimately replacing the vehicle. So all of the capabilities associated with fleet management are built right into our system, and it works right out of the box. So with that, I'll stop the share on this one, and I will share with you what the demo will look like. So can everybody see my screen? I'm assuming yes. So effectively what we've got, it's a work order dashboard. Let's take a look at what the things that we can provide for you on the ServiceNow platform. So fleet readiness. So what we call fleet readiness is it's gone through all the inspections. So it meets all the state and local safety requirements. It's an actual registered vehicle and legally able to be driven. Any internal inspections that you might have that you put in there, we can workflow. We have a whole inspection process that we can manage for you and put in there. So when you put this kind of governance around your fleet management vehicle, the readiness here shows that you can actually manage the vehicle. So if we take a look and click into this, for example, we can take a look and see that there's a police interceptor and it's ready to go. We can show you the substate and the status, who it's assigned to, any renewals, like this would be for the registration, and then the type of vehicle that it is. We'll come back to this. And then there's operational status. So basically what the operational status is it in use, is it in stock, or is it in maintenance? So you can immediately see with your whole fleet what the status is of that vehicle. So if it's in use, as you can see here, we've got 410 vehicles that are currently in use. We've got 28 vehicles that are in stock, and then we've got one that's right now in maintenance, which would allow you to basically see what the status is of your vehicle right away, of your vehicles are right away. And then across the top, what the location is. So this is actually the physical location. In this case, we can see things that are in Minnesota, Colorado, California, Texas, Ohio. So this gives you a sense of where every vehicle is, right? We can see I got 141 vehicles in Oklahoma, 36 in Texas. I've got, 100, I got 16 in New Mexico. Just by hovering over it, you can see where actually the vehicles are. Clicking into it gives you a list of all the vehicles, right? So this is all the list of vehicles, including the vehicle identification number. You can classify it. You can set up categories around what type of vehicle it is, all the way to the department that owns it, where it is, if there's an old tag associated with it, and again, the renewal date, right, for compliance. So some of the other things that we're capturing are financials associated with the fleet. And this is where it's going to give you like the total fleet cost. So now you can see exactly what your cost is for purchasing of the vehicles. We can also, with our maintenance program, capture the amount of hours you spend and put rate cards in there to be able to understand what the cost is associated with the maintenance. And then any preventative maintenance plans in here, you can capture that here as well. Let's talk about fuel here a little bit. So fuel is another thing that we're able to capture with our fleet solution. So we can dive right down to understanding what the miles per gallon are for each vehicle. So if we click into here, we can see that, we're getting 26.3 miles per gallon out of that vehicle that's owned by this Kramer person. Also, locations of where you're buying the fuel. So now if you can manage your, again, going back to vendor management, you might have a vendor for fuel that you're using specifically because you may have negotiated some pricing with them. And you want to make sure that your people are using those vendors, right? So now you can see where all the vehicles are buying their fuel. And in this case, you can see something was bought at North Chester, Virginia. The folks that are where they're purchasing their fuel, you can see a heat map of where the fuel is being purchased. And then we can capture for you what your fuel costs are to date. So now you can understand, okay, I'm spending this amount of fuel. One of the other things that we can do is like route management. So if you're finding that your costs are getting too high around fuel costs, you can start taking a look at the routes that they're taking because the mileage is going to impact the fuel cost. So now you can maybe do some route management to reduce your fuel costs. Also, if you're seeing that your costs are going too high, you can start negotiating with those vendors to be able to make sure that you're getting the best price. So one of the other things that's going to start coming into requirements for a lot of folks is what the carbon footprint is of the fleet. There's an actual formula that takes the miles, the number of gallons of fuel that you're using, and then make a calculation on the fuel type. So if it's gasoline, in this case, most of these are, then you can, I think the multiplier is like 4.65 times the amount of gallons per use that you've used in that particular time, to calculate what the actual carbon footprint is. Well, we can capture that here with this report. So we're actually able to give you all the data to give you the carbon footprint reporting that you might need to give to a government agency. Now let's take a look at compliance, right? So for compliance perspective, vehicle registrations, this comes down to basically understanding when the vehicle actually expires with the state or the government. So now you can create workflows around making sure that those vehicles every month, right? Every month, making sure that those vehicles are indeed going to be able to be kept on the road legally. So create a work order to make sure that somebody goes out, does the renewal, or if you have a team that does that, you can say, okay, here's the vehicles that need to be, their registrations need to be renewed. So go to the local Department of Motor Vehicles, or in the case of Massachusetts, we call it the Registry of Motor Vehicles, and then you can get the vehicle registered and good for another year. So inspections by status. So what this inspection is, this would be a Department of Transportation or the government agency that does the weights. So if you have a heavy vehicle and it's out on the road and you have to pull into a weigh station, there likely is going to be an agent that's going to be there by the government that's going to number one, weigh the vehicle, and number two, possibly do an on-site safety inspection. So what we're doing here is we're going to capture what that safety inspection is. You'll ultimately get a piece of paper which you can then import into our system. and then understand what the status is of that inspection. So making sure that that vehicle, if there's any violations of that safety inspection, you can create a work order to get it fixed. But also if you're overweight, right? So this will give you the ability to capture all of that governmental inspection information for compliance, so that when you get audited, for example, if they show up and audit you, you can pull all of the vehicles up, get the inspection state and any inspections that have been done, and also the work orders that have been done on that vehicle, and show it to them digitally. Right now, I know that this is a very difficult thing for a lot of people to do because they have a file cabinet full of paper that they have to do. So these audits can sometimes take days. Well, what we're actually able to do is to help you stay in compliance, but also manage the audit so that you can get that done in a couple of hours as opposed to a couple of days. And again, just taking a look at the inspection types, right? So pre-trip, Department of Transportation inspections, and then post-trip. One of the other things we can do for you is accident reporting. So God forbid any of your drivers get into an accident whilst they're on the road, you can report that here. So we just take a look into this. You can see that there was a rear end collision on the Silverado. If I just click in, if I click into here, we can actually see this and then actually take a look at the inspection. Now we can give you this accident report, and we can do this all on the mobile device too, because our portal, which I'll show you in a second, is also mobile enabled. So if your driver gets into an accident, they can fill out this accident report right away and then get it submitted not only to you, but they can also possibly email it to the local police, or when they get back to the office, they can print this out and then submit it with their accident report with the local law enforcement, which typically has to be done. But also create a workflow to work on getting it fixed with the repair shop, and also submit it to the insurance company. And just get through this. So that's probably kind of a nutshell of some of the things that you can see at the 30,000 foot level. So one of the other things that we also manage is work orders, right? So taking a look at the work orders that you can do with folks. Now, this is either if you have your own team of mechanics and specialists to be able to manage the vehicles, but also if you outsource it. So again, as I mentioned earlier, you can do some vendor management. So if you're outsourcing the vehicle maintenance to them, you can capture that here. So what I'm showing here is the total amount of work orders that you have currently in the system. Here you can see the work orders by technician. And what this is really going to be able to do is to manage the workload, right? So if you've got work technicians out there, that in this case, you can see Beth Anglin's working on 8 things. I'm working on a couple. Abraham Lincoln is working on 3. Brad Marchand's got 3. And then you got a couple here that are empty. Abe Tutter's working on 1. So maybe the next work order that comes in, we might want to give to maybe one of these 4 folks. And this gives you the ability to take a look at what the work order actually is and see what they're working on, right? So this is the work order that they've got. And you can also manage leveraging ServiceNow's field service management. You can also leverage what we're doing around field service. So if this person has to be dispatched out to the field, leveraging ServiceNow's field service management, which we work together because we're a native application, we can work together with ServiceNow's other capabilities. Just get back into this. So also, again, in the spirit of keeping all your work orders in a single pane of glass, taking a look at all the field work orders that we have so you can see what it is by stage, so if it's in progress, if it's completed, if it's been, certified, breached, also work orders by assignment group. So all those field work orders by basically who's being assigned to us. So we've got enterprise field techs, we got, enterprise field techs in the East, we've got vendor agents, we've got mechanics here. So we take a look at the mechanics and what are their work orders that they've got right now. In this case, I did have to do a demo for a ministry in Europe, and one of the work orders that I wanted to do is one of the helicopters had a tire blowout on a hard landing. So you can actually create some of the field service management work orders from ServiceNow within this capability as well. So really working quite well within the ServiceNow ecosystem, because again, we're an extension of ServiceNow's engineering team, and being able to work in there. So also, if you have internal work orders, an internal work order, say changing the oil in a vehicle or changing all the filters in the vehicle, or if again, getting back to the service bulletins that come from the manufacturer, you can capture a lot of that here. So again, this is really the 30,000 foot within 2 or 3 clicks away from capturing everything you need to do to manage all of your fleet. And while we're talking about this, we also have a portal that we make available to you right out of the box. So it's a very similar thing, right? You can see all your dashboards right here. You can all your fleet inventory here as well, right? So you can see everything that's associated with the fleet. So if I've got some large vehicles, if we've got these trucks that are out on the road, we capture really everything associated with all the vehicles here. So again, we're capturing a really comprehensive amount of data that are associated with the vehicles, including any assets that might be on the vehicle. So you can see, productivity, you can additional vehicle types of assets that are in there. Also, one of the other things that you can see with the portal is where are my vehicles in the world, right? So now we can see effectively where everything is. We got a couple of agents in Miami. We've got a couple of vehicles in Ireland. If we take a look in Denmark, we can see some vehicles. If we take a look here, we can see a Leopard tank, and effectively you can see all of the vehicles that you might have with all the assets, types of things associated with the vehicle, whether it's contracts, all the financials associated with it, and then any general information that are associated with the vehicle. So with that, that's kind of the 1,000-foot level demo that I wanted to share with you guys. Is there any other questions that you might have? Just throw them in the chat, and I'd be happy to take a look at it. I see. Buenos dias. Yeah, that was earlier. Any questions?
No questions. ¿Alguna pregunta? Lo que voy a hacer, voy a actually, para que si no quieren hacerlo por el chat, lo voy a hacer para que lo puedan hacer en vivo. Déjame. Si quieren, puede quitarse de mute y no questions.
Okay.
Okay, no questions. That means you did a good job, Dave.
Gracias. Muchas gracias.
Okay, so thanks, Dave. Gracias a todos. Thanks everyone for joining. Again, like I said, this was a introductory to the product. Esto fue una introducción al producto. Próximamente recibirán un correo para un evento en persona en la República Dominicana donde haremos el lanzamiento oficial del producto junto a Blueway. Esto será para el mes de junio. Y ya en el final de esta semana recibirán eso. Por igual recibirán una copia de la grabación del webinar para sus archivos y para que lo tengan. Cualquier pregunta, favor de ponerse en contacto conmigo. Mi correo electrónico es ruben@bluewaypro.com, o también puede ponerse en contacto con nuestro correo electrónico general, que sería info@bluewaypro.com. Muchas gracias por su participación y estamos a su orden. So thanks everyone for your participation. Looking forward to talking to you in person. Goodbye.